I want to share a mindset shift that has been really profound for me recently. And it's so simple, yet many of us don't do it because we fall into the trap of everyday life. And I don't know about you, but my brain is wired sometimes to grab the things that maybe aren't going to go well or what I don't want. And it can spiral into me creating a vision of a future that's bleak. So, an example of this is recently, I won't go into too much detail because it's quite personal, but my son had an incident at school recently and was grabbed around the throat by another child. And as a parent, I was angry, I was upset, and I was worried about him. It impacted him, and he, of course, got really upset about it and was questioning everything about why it happened and all the things. And so I felt myself in that moment react to in a way that was really interesting. So I went into a place of starting to worry about his safety at school. I started to worry about some of the things that he'd said to me and worried about what if he got bullied at school. And then I started to paint pictures of him walking home by himself and getting picked on and, things that I'd seen happen at my own school. And before I knew it, I'd escalated this in my mind to be looking at all the things that I don't want him to get bullied. I don't want this to happen again. I don't want him to go through this. I don't want this to impact his fun and time at school. And what was really interesting was I've learned recently to get clear on what you don't want, but don't stay there. And this is the distinction that I want to make with you all because it's been really profound for me. So decide what you don't want, decide the things that you really don't want to happen, and then transfer to the opposite and the future that you do want. That's where to hold your attention. And so in that situation, the transference was, I want Isaac to feel safe at school. I want Isaac to thrive when he goes to his secondary school. I want Isaac to feel comfortable and secure and confident in who he is. And it was this complete shift from staying in the place of fear and worry and concern and painting a picture of the future to right now we've identified that, let's transfer this to the opposite. And what was so powerful about that was as soon as I transferred it to the opposite and started to think about the things that I want for him, that's when I started to see the immediate things that I could put into place, the people I could speak to make sure that was happening. That was like mind blown. And then I realized that this happens in my life all the time. And so things might happen where it's not going to plan, or I'm doing something new and things feel difficult, things feel challenging. And what can happen is painting the picture of this isn't working, this is rubbish, I don't want to be doing this, or this isn't going to make me any money, or this isn't going to lead to happiness, this is going wrong. And then before I know it, I can start to write off that idea or change my direction completely because it feels like it's not working anymore, or actually make decisions based on something that doesn't feel great. And in fact, then what happens is I stay there too long and I ruminate on the thing that isn't working. And I keep saying, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't going well. And the more I stay there, the more where focus goes, energy flows. So the more it doesn't feel like it's working, and the more I get stuck, and then the more it just brings me down and then escalates into all these other things that aren't going well. And so again, it's about not staying there too long. And I'm really identifying that in myself recently, of pulling myself out before I stay there too long and it escalates, to transfer that into, okay, if I don't want that and it doesn't feel like it's going well, what is it that feels like it's going to go well? How can I make this feel like it's going to go well? And so I'm trying to think of some real life example now. And I guess for me recently in my work, I'm setting up behind the scenes, I'm setting up a summit. We're hosting this big event soon, the Teacher Art Summit. And for a while, I started to feel a bit overwhelmed by all the parts. It's a really big process. I started to, the fear started to take over, it started to, I started to get the fear of, what if this doesn't work? What if this isn't a good idea after all? What if I waste everybody's time and they're all coming to speak at this event? And I could feel and identify. And a lot of this is being really self-aware, noticing the thoughts and the feelings that crop up so that you can transfer them before they come into something major. So I started to feel those feelings, and it's about that self-awareness, and I saw them, felt them. And so before I start to write the idea off and cancel it all and not do it because of these crazy thoughts, which is just in this instance my fear taking over, it was, how do I transfer them? Okay, so this event actually has the power to be absolutely amazing. And I know it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. And this is how I want it to feel, and this is how I want it to be. So how do I make that happen? So instead of putting all my focus over here, which is like the back, and it's black and bleak and dark and full of worry, is transferring that over to, I'm not going to stay there. That's not where I'm staying. I'm staying in the opposite of this event being absolutely amazing. And how do I make that happen? Because when I focus my thoughts on that instead of what could actually go wrong and all the things that could potentially be bad about this and how terrible this could be, and what if I can't do this, and what if I can't do that, and what if the tech can, the more I stay there, then it's just going to heighten all of that possible fear and angst and things going wrong. Whereas when I just move my focus this way, it's like the compass, move the compass to the other direction of, right, that's what I don't want. This is what I want. I want it to feel easy. I want it to be exciting. I want it to do well. I want to help people through this process when they join us. So how do I make that happen? And so all of a sudden now I'm actually looking for the solutions and feeling empowered and exciting about it instead of fearing it and worrying about all the things that are going to go wrong with it. So it's okay to think, well, this could go wrong, that could go wrong. So how do I make sure that doesn't happen? So recently I've been doing a lot of mindset work, and this has been super powerful for me. One, acknowledging and being self-aware and noticing the thoughts and feelings that crop up. Number two, noticing what feels off, what feels like is making me get fired up, like I don't want this, and not staying there. Not staying there, identifying it and then moving it towards something that's more empowering. And I've been really practicing that over the last few weeks, and it is literally changing how I feel, how I show up, just how I apply myself to the things that I actually want to do. And in these situations that have felt really awful, especially the story about my son, it's actually making me see how I can make a difference in that situation, and has turned the whole feeling around from fear and scared, and to actually, we can do something great here with this. So I wanted to share that with you as a reminder, because it happens to all of us, and to really notice and pay attention to where your thoughts and your decisions are going, and transfer them to what it is that you want. How do you want this to go? And how do you make that happen? And you might not have the answers, but that's a better question to ask than, how do I avoid this? How do I don't want this to happen? It's, how do I make the opposite happen? And something as simple as that practice can change the way you feel on a day-to-day basis. So I'm sharing that with you. And by the way, if you'd like to join the waitlist for our Teacher Art Summit at the point of recording this, The link is below, and I can't wait to share this with you for those who would like to learn more about expanding creativity to impact others, to go beyond selling art and using your creativity to build communities, to impact the lives of others through teaching in some way. And you don't have to be a qualified teacher. You don't have to know anything about teaching. That's how I began in all of this, with no knowledge whatsoever, and have built a whole beautiful creative life through nurturing and caring for others, and learned so much about my own creativity in the process, which is why I want to share this event. So click the link below if you'd like to join us, and I'll see you next week for some more motivational conversation. Take care. Bye.